Hey everybody, a quick video here about MozCon Local. So this is a short video of my takeaways from the recent conference in Seattle from MozCon about local SEO, local search engine optimization. So watch this video, the links are in the description, and it's my kind of rundown of what was cool and exciting, newsworthy at MozCon, and hopefully that'll help you get your business to the top of Google's local snack pack. Let's get started. First up, Darren Shaw of WhiteSpark. So whitespark.ca, they're kind of a local citation company in Canada, and he's taken over the responsibility of their SEO ranking factors report that they produce on local SEO. And he kind of went through the takeaways. So here's my takeaways, things from the webinar, from the event. Number one, lots of talk about local links and local link building mattering really more than local reviews, which surprised me because I would have thought that reviews were more important than local links, but there was sort of a give and take there. Number two is that reviews matter, and of course reviews on Google for your customers. Number three was proximity, which we've seen, right? The closer the searcher is to your business, the more likely you are to search, which has to do a lot with Google's transition to mobile first. So kind of, and number four was sort of this whole NAP consistency, like your consistency of your name, address, phone number across websites. That's the big thing, but I think you kind of have this diminishing return to scale on that as some to-dos. So let's talk about some to-dos from his talk. First of all, be afraid of Google. Google is doing a lot of experimentation, like in San Diego, where if you Google plumbers, here in San Jose, same thing, you Google plumbers, you do not necessarily see any organic listings. So you've got to watch out for what's changing in the Google My Business ecosystem. Number two, keyword in the business name. These sort of spammy keywords in business names are working, but we never know if they're going to cut down on those. So the spammy sort of put in plumber in the name of your business, sort of an issue. Some talk on behavioral factors. I'm not sure we can impact those, but it is out there. And then another sort of resource that came up is the WhiteSpark listing of the best citation resources by country and by category. And this idea that when you put your company into Google My Business, that less is more. You should be very focused on those categories and get those categories tight to your business. That was sort of the first up thing I want to share with you guys. Next, let's talk. There was a link brainstorming panel, and as I indicated above, local links matter and relevant industry links matter. So your to-do is hello, get links. Hello, no big news there, but important reiteration of how important local links are to local SEO. Next up, Mary Bowling of on-page local factors from her, and I have links to all these people so you can check out their websites and their blogs and stuff. So she kind of had a lot of interesting points. Amongst the points that she reiterated is the importance of schema.org, schema markup to your website, and then some discussion of how it's a little difficult on WordPress. So your to-do here is to revisit the schema.org microdata and make sure that those are getting on your website. Also, some other odds and ends here. Make sure that you have a Google map on your website, so it makes it really obvious to Google your physical location. And link out. Don't be afraid to link outbound to relevant, useful resources for your customer base. Again, situating yourself as a local business and a local expert. So I thought that was really important. I lost my place there. All right, next up, Mike Blumenthal, and again, link to his awesome blog. So he's one of the gurus in this industry, and he sort of pointed out, and I'll show you here, he pointed out that, if you're Mecca Coffee in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that this sort of search, when people do the branded search, this is kind of like your new home page, that people are going to come here, they're going to look at your reviews, they're going to look at your business, and then they often check out your reviews right online without ever really getting to your website. So I thought that was an interesting concept, just to think of that as your new home page. He also talked about and maybe this was Aaron, and I apologize if I've got kind of who said what backwards, but the idea of customer feedback, of asking customers for feedback, making it easy to give feedback on your website and asking, and then that gives you an opportunity to ask for a review. I thought that was really good. Don't always just hit them with buy our stuff, but what do you think? That was interesting. Next up, Cindy Crum of Mobile Moxie. So she and Mobile Moxie did an awesome job talking about mobile first and mobile issues. I'm a little skeptical of the whole mobile first thing. I don't think it's always as relevant or as difficult as many people do think. I think if you've got a responsive theme, it's pretty fast. I don't think it's as important as I think a lot of the people there did. That said, really important, lots of useful stuff. They have a great emulator on their website and some cool tools to check out your mobile stuff. Next up here, Paula Keller of Search Influence. This was a really interesting talk at MozCon in that it wasn't really a talk about local, it was really a talk about content marketing. And she gave a great talk about doing some research, semantic search, and she used this example of wedding bands as a search, and then what does that mean? Is that wedding rings, or is it the band that plays the music at the wedding? And then pointing out you've got semantics in there about if it's a wedding band, then you're going to talk about singers and rock and live and music and things like that. If it's a ring, you're going to talk about diamonds and engagement and gold. And she sort of talked about a methodology for writing really useful semantically relevant content. So that was sort of important. So your to-do here is write that better content that's useful for your users. Of course, that's locally oriented and that's semantically relevant to Google. So that was a good talk, really more about content marketing. So then we had a panel on local, and I'm just going to be sort of full disclosure here. We had official rep from Google, official rep from Yelp, official rep from Bing. I'm always pretty skeptical of these official reps. I think they tend to be kind of what did they used to call them in the old Soviet Union? They used to call them apparatchiks. So they used to be kind of, the company man or the company woman. I just think they kind of tell you stuff you kind of already know you can read in the help files, but not the really nitty gritty. Did come up kind of interesting was this idea of answering questions on Yelp. Yelp has a question and answer feature now, and then Google with the move towards voice interaction at home or in the phone or in the car, this idea of creating content that is answering user input and user questions. I think that was interesting. I'm not sure how relevant some of that is to local, but that came up there. Then back to Mike Blumenthal of Get 5 Stars. He had a great presentation about words. Are words the new link? And he had a client of his or an associate or a user study of his about Barbara Oliver jewelry. And he kind of brought up this issue of Google Plus, and is Google Plus dead, yes or no? And it's sort of like, yes, it is, no, it's not, yes, it is, no, it's not, yes, it is. And his point was, you can kind of influence Google by these external queries, external mentions on Yelp, external Google Plus interactivity, Google Plus ones, things like that. And from some experimentation that he did, he really made the idea that maybe we should not put the nail in the coffins yet of Google Plus, that it may have some legs, especially with Google Plus Ones and Google Plus One connections. So sort of like the king is dead, long live the king. And then the final presentation I want to draw your attention to is from Greg Gifford, and he was excellent. He's got his slides there, and on his slides he has little bit.lys that link to lots of resources and videos and whatnot. And he talked about Google My Business and some of the issues with Google My Business, and kind of pointed out again that some of the local reviews off of Google, like on Yelp, on Bing, on Yelp, on Facebook, and on Google, are important. So the three. And he also mentioned that you can tweet to the GMB, to Google My Business team, if you have a serious issue, that their kind of support in an undisclosed developing country is not really the highest quality, that sometimes you want to tweet to them if you have a serious issue. So that, my dear YouTube followers, is a great rundown of a really, really fantastic show. on local, MozCon local, and I've got all the links for you, and you can go and dig in and go and learn a little bit from what I saw at the show, and then put it on your calendar for next year if you're into local. It's really worth going up to Seattle. And just on a little side note, we're up there in Seattle. It was rainy, it was cold, it was a little snowy. As a Californian, it reminded me about why I love California, because the weather was terrible. But the venue was great and the conference was fantastic, and I hope they get some sun up there in Seattle. So thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and again, look at the link in the YouTube description for all of the goodies to up your speed there on local SEO.